And this controversy comes at a time when Pakistan is unveiling its new air strategy. It's called the Book of Air Power, and it's an aggressive document that redefines warfare in South Asia. We'll come to the contents in a bit. But first, let me tell you who unveiled it. Pakistan's Army Chief General Asim Munir was the chief guest at this event. Also present were senior officials from the Pakistan Air Force, including the Air Chief, Marshal Arshad Malik. You see, this book is not just a strategy. It's a philosophy. It tells you how Pakistan intends to fight and win wars, not just against India, but also other countries like Israel and the United States. Yes, America. This book has chapters dedicated against these two countries. But why are we talking about this now? Because this strategy is not new. It was first unveiled in January 2023. The ceremony was attended by former Army Chief Kamal Javed Bajwa. He was succeeded by General Asim Munir a few weeks later. So when General Munir took charge, this book was already out. What he did on Tuesday was reiterate its contents. He said Pakistan has the capability to hold Indian cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Calcutta. He also threatened the US and said Pakistan can target American cities if provoked. Now, what does this book say exactly? Let's try and find out. Copies are being distributed among participants at the seminar. Some of them have managed to get their hands on it. We've got our hands on some of its contents. Take a look. The book is divided into 3 parts. The first part talks about Pakistan's nuclear doctrine. The second part discusses the country's overall military strategy. And the third part is dedicated to the Pakistan Air Force. It tells you how the PAF will execute Pakistan's military strategy. There are 10 chapters in total. Chapters 7 and 8 are dedicated to India. Chapter 9 is dedicated to Israel, and Chapter 10 talks about the United States. Now, some important things to note here. No. 1. This is not a new document. It was written in 2022. No. 2. It was written by serving members of the Pakistan military. And no. 3. It was approved by the Pakistan government. It talks about a hybrid threat, one that involves both conventional and nuclear weapons. Pakistan calls this concept Khorazangan, which literally translates to scorched earth. The idea is to inflict maximum damage on India, even if it means destroying Pakistan itself. Chapter 7, for instance, talks about executing a war plan called Khorazangan. What does this plan entail? Waging a full-scale war with India. In fact, the very first line in this chapter says, Pakistan's strategic goal is the annihilation of the Indian state through a full-scale war. Annihilation of the Indian state. That's the goal of Pakistan's military. And how do they intend to do this? By going all out and targeting everything, even civilian infrastructure. Let me read out another statement from this book. Pakistan must be prepared to target Indian cities such as Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Calcutta. Pakistan must also be prepared to take out Indian military installations. This includes the nuclear arsenal. Remember what I told you earlier. This is not a new book. It was written in 2022. There was no escalation with India. So what explains this hatred? Well, Pakistan's obsession with India. It sees India as an existential threat, an adversary that must be destroyed. Let me show you another map from the same book. It shows Indian cities that Pakistan can target with missiles. The map is titled Nuclear Strike Capability Against Indian Targets. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Isn't this just another example of Pakistan's posturing? Well, maybe, but there's more to it than meets the eye. This book gives you a peek into Pakistan's way of thinking. It also tells you how the Pakistani military perceives the world. For starters, the book claims Pakistan has the capability to target every major Indian city with missiles. Here's another interesting thing. Pakistan claims it can target Israeli cities too. Remember, there is no ongoing conflict between Pakistan and Israel. They do not even recognize each other. Israel does not even feature in Pakistan's foreign policy. Yet Pakistan has a dedicated chapter on Israel. It talks about a hypothetical war with Israel. The book says Pakistan can target Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. And why just Israel? Pakistan also has a chapter dedicated against the United States. Again, there's no war raging between the two countries. In fact, the US is supposed to be a partner and ally of Pakistan. But that's not how Pakistan sees Washington. The book says Islamabad can target anywhere in the US from Karachi. Here's another quote from the book. If forced to do so, Pakistan can strike anywhere in the United States. How can Pakistan attack America? With the help of its allies, of course. Pakistan believes that China will support it in a war with India, and if it takes on the United States, Iran and Turkey will have its back. This belief is mentioned on multiple occasions in the book. Now, this is not a secret. Senior Pakistani officials have said this publicly. For instance, former Human Rights Minister Shireen Mazari said this during an interview with a Pakistani news channel. Listen to what she said. If God forbid, if a war breaks out between Pakistan and India, then China will have to intervene. She also made the same claim on Twitter. These views were reiterated by Pakistan's former ambassador to the United Nations, Maliha Lodi. Listen to what she said. If there is a war between Pakistan and India, China will not remain a silent spectator. Pakistan's friends and partners will support us. So this book is essentially Pakistan's grand plan. It's a doomsday document that talks about inflicting maximum damage on neighbors and partners alike. It also reveals Pakistan's mindset. Think about it. If this book was written in 2022, why hasn't Pakistan shared it with the world? Why not make the document public? Because its contents are purely destructive. They go against everything that the world stands for today. Multilateralism, diplomacy, peace talks. All of this is rejected in Pakistan's new air strategy. What explains this mindset? A society that glorifies war and warmongering. Take a look at this social media post. It celebrates the Balacott airstrike. Do you remember that incident? On February 26, 2019, Indian fighter jets carried out an airstrike in Balacott, Pakistan. They destroyed a gem camp in Balacott. Around 300 gem terrorists were killed. Pakistan says no civilians were killed. India never claimed otherwise. Yet Pakistanis are celebrating the deaths of these terrorists. Another reason for this mindset is state propaganda. For decades, Pakistan has been feeding lies to its citizens. India is an existential threat. They say, India is planning to take Kashmir. Soon, India will attack Pakistan. The only way to stop India is to build a strong military. This propaganda has worked on Pakistani minds. People believe India will attack Pakistan one day. They believe Pakistan needs a big army to counter India. Even the size of the army is dictated by this propaganda. Take a look at this chart. It lists down Pakistan's military expenditure since 1988. Look at how it increased over the years. Pakistan spent around 1.8% of its GDP on defense in 1988. 2 decades later, this figure stood at around 6%. What happened in between? Well, Pakistan kept hyping up India. Every border incursion was portrayed as an invasion. Every skirmish was described as a war. All of this brings us to the question, should India be worried? Well, we advise restraint. It talks about attacking allies and partners. It also threatens a nuclear strike. It belongs to a world of make-believe. And we know what Pakistan is capable of. It talks about non-state actors and sponsored terrorism. This book is yet another example of that. It's a major player in multilateral forums. It has strong alliances and partnerships. Countries are lining up to invest in India. Pakistan's threats will not change any of this. India's best bet is to ignore these threats and continue with its development journey.